you are on the air and off the books with Beth Ann and Samantha. And today we are talking about book 3 of the Vanishing Girls series by Lisa Regan. It is called Her Mother's Grave. Yes. And this book was soups crazy.
It was really good.
Like, it went from 0 to like 5,000 in like the
2
first
seconds.
Couple chapters.
Yes.
Yeah, so basically this is kind of like the plot, whatever you call it. Yeah.
Yes, like the summary.
Yes. So they get a call, Josie and Nell get a call that there has been a murder. They find a body buried in the ground in her old trailer park. And turns out this body was identified as, what's the name?
Belinda Rose.
Belinda Rose, yes. This body is identified as Belinda Rose, and when body's identified, Josie's like, what the heck? That's not right. That's the name of my mom. So basically, what you find out is, basically her mom has been impersonating this Belinda Rose. Mm-hmm. And this Belinda Rose just so happens to be murdered, and Josie's mom is still alive. And what's going on in here? What's going on? Beth Ann explains better than I do. I'm just like in my head, and I'm like, this is what's happening in my head that's making no sense outside of my head.
So up until this point, we know that Josie has this like tortured past because of her mother. And so this book basically is a flashback into Josie's life as a child. So you get like in between chapters where Josie is a young girl, and how sorry, we're waving at people walking by the window. So you'll read a couple of chapters in the present, and then you'll go flashback to the past. And the past events tie into what's happening in the future. But it's all about how Josie lived in this trailer park with her quote-unquote mother, and how she suffers abuse at her hand. Yeah. And so when...
trigger warnings for this book. If you get triggered by abuse or anything like that, don't read. Don't go on in this podcast.
Yeah.
Stop here. There's also spoilers, so also stop here.
Right. Because so far we haven't told you anything that's going to be detrimental to your story, but from here on out we're going to be. And also, yes, trigger warnings. It's probably a trigger warning for every single thing you could possibly think of.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty rough. Like, I was pretty upset with most of it. Like, yeah. I was like, this is ridiculous. And I just didn't know how a mother could actually, which turns out she wasn't really her mother, so it didn't really, that helped, I guess, the fact that she wasn't, that she was so detached and so selfish. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so they find this dead body, and it turns out that this body has the same name as her mother does. Dun, dun, dun. And she's just like, I don't know how this is possible. This is my mother. And she doesn't want to dig into her past at all. So she's really hoping that there are other people who have this name. Well, they find out that this woman, this is the only Belinda Rose, of course, in the whole, like, I almost said tri-state area, like Phineas and Ferb. The whole tri-state area. Been watching a lot of Phineas and Ferb. Oh, that's so good, yes. So, and then they find out that she has these supernumerary teeth, which are these fangs that grow in behind or beside your canines, I believe. Mm-hmm. It was hard to... I don't have any. It was... You probably do. You're just hiding them.
Yeah, probably.
So it turns out this woman was murdered, her identity assumed by her mother, and there's a scandal behind why this woman is dead, obviously.
Yes.
Well, the scandal turns out she was cheating around with the judge a long time ago, and she was an orphan just like Josie's, fake mom. Yeah. Mom. And she was fooling around with the judge, and she ended up having his baby. Well, the judge's wife staged this whole thing with Josie's, fake mom to cover up the pregnancy, adopt the boy as if he wasn't actually the judge's real son, even though he was. Mm-hmm. And they've proved all of that through these teeth, which is really, really cool. I think she added quite the awesome touch there. And then that woman, the judge's wife, went through to try to cover all of it up using Josie's fake mom. Mm-hmm. Well, turns out...
Plot twist!
Which is so crazy.
We knew. I feel like we knew from the beginning of the series. Like,
yes.
as soon we predicted all of this.
Oh, yeah.
Not, like, to a T. Not the way that it was going to happen. But, like,
we knew
predicted.
It had to be something.
Yes. So, literally, craziest part of the book. So, Josie's quote-unquote mother... So Josie finds out there's this girl, her name's Trinity Payne, and she is a reporter, and throughout all these series so far, till book 3, it's always, like, thrown in that, oh, we look so much alike, it's so weird, you wouldn't be able to tell us apart.
Yeah, so, other than the fact that Josie has a scar on her face, they literally look identical.
Yeah, so... It turns out that Josie looks in on Trinity because Trinity gets kidnapped, and they figure that out by the video because everybody thought it was Josie, and they're like, but Josie's right here. Turns out it's Trinity that's been kidnapped. So Josie, of course, goes into detective mode, does some research on Trinity. Turns out that Trinity is a survivor of a fire that took her twin sister.
Bum, bum,
Someone, quote unquote, took her twin sister.
Twin sister.
So, you find out that Josie's mother actually stole Josie. She created the fire, right?
Yep, she started the fire in Trinity's parents' home.
Yep.
To get back at them for having such a good life. Because Josie's fake mom was actually stealing from these people, so they reported her to her cleaning company.
Yes.
And so she took revenge by stealing the baby and starting the fire.
Yes, which is a little bit crazy, if you ask me.
She
really
went from psychotic.
0 to 100. The parents were not at the house at the time. It was the babysitter. Babysitter was okay, but they thought, obviously, that this other baby was dead. So Trinity was the baby that survived. And turns out Josie's mom stole Josie from the house as a baby.
Yep.
Took her, raised her as her own. I don't know. I just feel like I would have been like, you would have been able to like be like, oh, that's my sister.
Well, I think that
I would have looked into it if I looked that much like somebody.
I think that's the whole reason why Trinity was so eager to go along with Josie's fake mom, because I think she kind of knew, and that's why I think that Trinity was so interested in Josie all the time.
Yeah.
Because I think in the back of her mind, she thought that there was something like nefarious going on. But she didn't want to be like too eager because she was such a story seeker. But she'd been looking for years and years, and obviously they had these huge connections and ties. So when this enticing like information came up, hey, come with me, and like I'll tell you everything you want to know about your missing sister.
Yeah.
And then she gets framed for some murder and stolen and beat within an inch of her life. And it's just like, but I just liked it because it wasn't just like she was just some random sister that was missing. Like they're identical twins.
And I love their relationship, like how like they automatically like connected.
Yes.
After that, they were like, yes, we're sisters, like we're twins. We have a relationship. It's not awkward.
But they've already had like this interesting working connection anyway.
Yeah.
And they're compatible in their own like driven, weird way. And so I think that that's what kind of helped, is that just kind of cemented that fact for her. It's still realistic in that she's uncomfortable with the fact like she has this family now that she never knew she had, and like she's trying to balance that with like her grandma and like what her grandma had to do to like try to protect her and save her. And I really like that she ends up not losing more, but she gains some. This way.
She gains a whole family. Parents that she's never known.
And then she gets to put away, like, her past. Like, it doesn't have to, like, haunt her anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that she'll have her things, but at this point, it's just, like, unless she gets out somehow and tries to make her life miserable, which could be a huge plot twist down the road, but...
Yeah.
I really hope that that's not a thing.
I know. I really want Trinity... I don't know. I want Trinity to move back to, like...
that
where
area.
Josie is, and I want her to just be like, I want to be just like a reporter, like in this town. I want to be with you. But I just love them together. I love their like.
It's an awesome dynamic. It was such a good twist, I think.
And it's so crazy how the author like planned that from book 1.
Yes, like she already knew that this was a thing that was going to happen.
Yeah, that was insane.
I really, really enjoyed that a lot.
It's like she's written these books because, I mean, even she planted Noah in book 1. So it's like she has like 20,000 ideas. It's like she wrote all of her book ideas down. She's like, how can I
interconnect everything?
Interconnect book 11, book 20 with book 1. How can I start doing this in book 1?
Yes.
And it's going to be crazy to like find out like all the connections in the rest of the books.
I just hope she can keep it staying just as like spicy because like it's technically unrealistic because it's such a small town.
Right, but like how boring would it be if it was realistic?
True.
Like, oh man, went to the grocery store, didn't find my sister. Gonna go find one books without finding my sister because what are the odds?
Like I ate some mac and cheese today.
Yeah, it's really good. It was Kraft.
But I don't know. I just wanted to stay lively. The only thing I will say about this Her Mother's Grave that we just read is that I didn't get enough backstory on Josie's fake mom. I can't remember what her name is. What is her name?
Belinda.
No.
Oh,
her actual name. I was like so over her because she made me so mad. I just put that in my mind.
L, I think.
Oh Lord, I don't remember.
It's not Lucinda, is it?
It might be.
We're gonna call her Lucinda.
We're gonna call her Lucinda now.
Lucinda might not be the actual name, but
I just liked how they tied Gretchen into the end and tried to like because Gretchen and her kind of have tortured pasts with their mothers, but we didn't get enough backstory. I feel like I could have used like a little bit of, or at least half a chapter more on her fake mom's backstory because when she said that she was like found in the woods as a feral child and then she was like thrown around from foster home to foster home and then like she was never adopted and she was like had everything imaginable happen to her in the foster care system. I just wanted a little bit more information about why which I understand why she was like the crazy person that she was because of everything that's happened to her, but I kind of wanted a little bit more.
Yeah, I just
like
think
on
I was
that
so
point.
like.
And maybe there will be more. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I was just so mad and like done with her that I was just like, she can just fall off the face of the earth and I won't care.
I didn't like her either, and she was so self-centered. Like I don't think, like it was like self-centered to like the 8 millionth percent. Like I've never seen somebody want to inflict so much pain on somebody else just to justify their own life.
I picture her like now that she's aged is like Kathy Bates in that one movie where she like puts the wood in between the legs and just breaks their ankles. I don't even remember what it's called.
Oh, it's called, oh Lord, what is that movie called? I know exactly what you're talking about.
I don't know, but that's how I picture this lady looking. That's how I picture her.
She's crazy. And and like the worst part of it was when she looked at Josie and told Josie, like, why? Because Josie was like, why did you take me? Why did you involve me? I didn't have anything to do with Belinda. I didn't have anything to do with anything that's happened to you. And she was like, how could I sit back and let you have a good life when I've had a bad one? Yeah. And I was like, like, really? I was so mad. I was like, I just want to choke you out. Like, how is that justifiable? Like, other people have the mindset of, like, my life was bad, so I'm going to try to do everything I can to make, you know, other people's lives good, the rest of my life good. Like, I don't understand the mindset of, like, I've suffered, so you have to suffer more by my hand.
Yeah. She was just like, nah, you gonna suffer.
Yeah, you're gonna have it worse than I ever had it. And then she tried to be like, yeah, well, my life was worse than your life ever was with me. And, like, you should be grateful that I wasn't as bad. And, like, I am your mom. And I was like, oh, I'm going to punch her in her ugly teeth. Like,
I was just so frustrating when, like, when Josie was younger, fake mom, call her fake mom.
Fake mom.
used, like, a knife and kind of, like, filleted her face. And that's why she has the scar. And I was just so mad. I was mad at Josie because she didn't turn her mom in. And I was like, what? You're in the hospital with these doctors. They know that something's going on. Like, they already suspect something. Just turn your mom in, my dude. Just do it.
Yes, or the fact that her dad wouldn't do it. say something. And my thing also is, like, how much does that stuff happen today? Like, where kids are so scared of what's going to go. Because all they can see is that my parents are the end-all, be-all. And, like, they're the ones that have all the say. They're the superhuman people. So they're going to make my life more miserable. So it's just better to keep quiet. Like, they try to choose the lesser of the two evils in their head when they know if they just say something, like, they could find a way out. But it's just, like, it frustrated me because it was such a realistic thing that could happen still.
And it's so sad because, like, kids will, like, still look up to their parents and be like, I love my mom, even though, like, your mom beats you, your mom sells you.
Yep. It's just so frustrating. And I think the realism of the fact that what she went through is, like, a thing.
Yeah, it's, like, super accurate.
It just, it made me so mad. But she got what she deserved in the end. She got life in prison, but it was just...
Or did she? Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, gosh. If she gets out, I swear on everything. This next book that's coming up is about, like, kind of profiles Gretchen, the new
it's so
detective. Good. I don't know.
You don't like it?
I'm, like, on the fence, man. I gotta read the rest of it. I'm, like, a third of the way through. So I have to kind of see, like, how it plays out. And we don't really know a whole lot about Gretchen yet.
Oh, but she will. It's a little slow at first, but it gets crazy.
Well, the hype must be awesome because every single one of her books gets, like, 4.8 out of 5 stars.
Yeah.
So it can't be, like... I don't know. I think I'm just so frustrated with the fact that she's found somebody who's a gentleman who really cares about her. And every single time they even try to have a conversation, they're interrupted. And then it's like they act like they don't know each other because they're working together.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. Like, I hate romance. And I'm like, this is stupid. Like, this makes me mad. This does nothing for me. Like,
yeah.
So I think I'm caught up on the fact that her and Noah can't figure out what they want from each other right now. And I don't like that. I just want to get that part of it over with so I can move on to the next thing.
I think they'll get married. I think they'll get
engaged.
You think so?
So?
Or I think that she's going to get pregnant.
Oh, God.
I do.
Yeah, but if something happens to her kid, I'm going to be a sob fest. I'm going to be sobbing. Oh, that can't.
Sobbing.
That can't.
No, nothing's going to happen to her kid. Maybe, like, it'll happen, but, like, nothing detrimental to the story.
Oh, great.
The kid will survive.
I'm going to protest. These books are taking me on a roller coaster. They're so good. And, like, they're reasonably priced on Kindle, too, which I like.
They're like $2-3
a piece. Yep.
Yeah.
And she's coming out with book 11 or 12 in October.
11. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She's still writing. And I wonder
Still going.
And I don't think that's the final book either. I think she's still...
And I like that she does not, because a lot of books, if they have like a super long series, they will switch from the main characters they started out with to different people, like side characters, and make them main characters.
Yeah.
And I love that she doesn't do that, because there's nothing more that I can't stand than when you're like invested in the main characters and the author's like, JK, we're gonna take it over to
you're gonna read
Bethany
everything.
And Todd.
Bethany and Todd. Oh no.
Yeah. And I'm just like, no.
Or like make them the main characters.
Fred and Marcia.
Yeah, I just need it to be Josie from her perspective completely, because it's about her. And it says like the Josie Quinn series. Like, it's not about
like if it would
else.
switch off to like Gretchen.
And like from her point of view,
I'd be off there and be like, no, we gotta stop. We gotta start something else.
I'm not a big fan of that. If she had introduced the first book with different perspectives right off the bat, and you're seeing through the eyes of other people, then it wouldn't be such a big jump. But because she's only ever written from Josie's perspective, like, I can't be bothered to read from anybody else. Like, because we know who she is at this point. Like, this is book 4. Like, we're on book 4. Like, this is like,
well, I'm on
that's
book
it.
5. Bethany's on book 4.
Fair. I'm slow.
It's okay. I've been staring at like the prologue of book 5 for probably like the last 3 days. I'll like pull it up and I'll just be like,
I need to read.
I'm gonna stare at it, but I'm not gonna read it.
I'm not gonna go there, not yet. Because she'll be like 18 books ahead of me if I let you.
Yeah, I'll be on book 11 like in a week, and she'll be like halfway through book 4. It happens.
I'm so bad. I am so slow. Shout out to all my slow
Yeah.
readers out there. You're not alone.
But for a lighter read next week,
Yes.
we are going to be, I don't think you guys will be hearing this next week, I could be wrong, but we are going to be recording Pumpkinheads.
Yes, by Rainbow Rowell.
Yes, and that should be a lighter read. I don't think there's murder.
No. It's like a cutesy little fall-esque romance, which is not really the season for it, but it's a graphic novel. So if you want to sit down and hear what we think about it, go ahead and pick it up now. We do have it at the library. We do have that here. Read it and then sit down and hear what we have to say about it. I really loved it, so I'm curious to see what you think about it.
Yep, and well, I think we're starting a new, well, we haven't really decided if we're going to read the series yet or just the first book. We're starting Bone Jar, and that is, I think, a series that has like 3 or 4 books.
Yeah, it's by S.W. Kane, right?
Yes, and I think it gets higher ratings than the Vanishing Girls.
Really?
Yeah, so
I, of course, haven't started it yet, but
who knows? Next week we could be hyping the Bone Jar and be like, bye, Josie Quinn.
Oh, that'll never happen. We're too
got
invested now.
drafted.
You guys are probably sick of hearing about the Vanishing Girls at this point.
Like, will they stop talking about the Naturals, the Vanishing Girls? No, we will not.
No, that's always part of our lives now.
Yeah.
So we may or may not add the Bone Jar. That, I think, also has a lot of trigger warnings, and it's a lot more gory than Vanishing Girls.
Yeah.
But if you like murder, mystery, thriller, that's the next thing we're picking up as well. So there's 2 things for you to pick up. Catch up on the Vanishing Girls, because I'm sure we'll come back at you with
And we
book
do
4.
have that at our library now.
We do, yes. We have that ordered. The first book is already on order for both the South Branch and the main branch. And then I can only imagine that after that we'll get the rest of the series.
I hope so.
I hope so too. That's
Yes,
awesome.
We need them.
They're amazing.
Yes. I bought the first one, and I want to buy the whole series, but like
in hard copy.
I wish they were like the same price as Kindle Unlimited books. Because then
Yeah.
I'd be like, the whole series.
I just want the first one signed. Not gonna lie.
Let's go. Okay, we'll tell our boss, our supervisor, that
Oh,
for
yeah.
the podcast, we need to take a road trip to go see Lisa Regan.
Just knock on her door. Hey!
I know you've heard of our podcast.
I know you've been listening. We just need you to sign here.
Yeah.
Go out to lunch a little bit, record a
Yeah.
podcast on the side.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
She'll definitely let us take a
Work-related
trip for work.
expenses, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
We could totally convince.
Yeah,
Then
sure.
we're just going to start going to podcast conventions that are like just
So
in
we can be
Florida
experts, right?
and LA. With
I
our
heard there was
Gucci
one in the
sandals.
Bahamas.
Yeah.
I
We'll be
wish,
wearing
whatever.
all Gucci, some Prada.
Some just a little sprinkling throughout, just a little bit of diversity there, just all my bouginess everywhere.
Yeah, so you can catch us next time in LA. This will be released 2 p.m.
Oh my gosh, that'd be. I don't think I've ever even been there. Well, you're going next week.
We will have security details, so please don't talk.
No
to us.
pictures. No pictures. Oh gosh, we're lame.
Yeah.
We really won't be in LA. We'll be here.
Yeah, we'll be in Kokomo.
Sitting at this desk recording you another podcast.
Yeah.
Whoop whoop.
You are on the air and off the books with Bethany and Samantha.
Just like you love joining us every single week. So
Yes.
if you have a love just like we do for Vanishing Girls, tell us about it. Email us your questions. You could even email us and be like, stop talking about it. And we'll be like, okay, we'll consider. Just let us know whatever you think. We don't care. We're not going to be offended.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, great.
So join us next week. And yeah,
We'll see you there.
we'll see you there.
Kind of. Bye.
Hopefully. Bye.